Hello and welcome to The Frame. We start this week with the results of Framingham's election as the unofficial tallies are now in. Local voters took to the polls this Tuesday, November 4th, to cast their ballots for major municipal government positions. Unofficial results indicate that close to 9,700 residents, or about 23% of the registered voter base in the city, cast a ballot in Framingham this year. Atop those ballots this year was the race for mayor, as incumbent Charlie Sisitsky was reelected after defeating challenger Jeff Epstein. Sisitsky took about 55% of the vote to become the first mayor in Framingham's short history as a city to win a second term. Epstein, meanwhile, won close to 43% of the citywide vote. A total of 4 city council races were contested this fall in Framingham. In District 2, Brandon Ward won his second consecutive term, as he defeated challenger Carol Spack. The unofficial results show that the incumbent Ward had close to a 60% share of the vote, while Spack had just over 36% of the tallies. Meanwhile, Mary Kate Feeney was victorious in the open race for District 3's city council position. She got just over 70% of the vote compared to Ken Weiss's share of about 22%, meaning that she'll be taking over for Adam Steiner, who did not seek re-election. If you recall, Feeney almost defeated Steiner for that position 4 years ago. Now, Feeney is set to be inaugurated in a matter of weeks. Michael Cannon is now 5 for 5 in his city council campaigns as he won another term to represent District 4 by defeating challenger Stephen Belcher. The incumbent Cannon received about 58% of the votes, as opposed to Belcher's roughly 33% share. In a rematch of the 2023 election in District 8, John Stefanini has been voted back on to the city council after defeating incumbent Leslie White Harvey, who knocked him off 2 years ago. Stefanini's nearly 56% of the votes were enough to defeat White Harvey, who gained support on about 41% of the ballots. All other district-specific city council members won another term on the legislative board as they ran unopposed. Shifting to the pair of contested school committee races now, as Lorena Tovar will be District 2's new representative in the group. She defeated incumbent David Gordon with close to 53% of the tallies. Gordon received 35.5% of the votes, according to the unofficial results. There was a bit of a confusing result in District 6's open school committee race to replace the outgoing Valerie Ottaviani, however. To preface, candidate Eddie Rodriguez announced on Monday the 3rd, the day before Election Day, that he was withdrawing himself from consideration due to family-related matters. Initial reports from the city clerk's office indicated that he was ahead of his opponent Brent Lewis by 2 votes, 442 to 440, early on election night. However, additional hand-counted votes led to the unofficial count standing at 445 to 443 in favor of Lewis, a member of Access Framingham's board, for full disclosure. Rodriguez did state in his withdrawal announcement that he'd work with Lewis to chart a path forward for District 6's constituents. All other races for the school committee were uncontested, and almost all incumbents were elected for another term. The one exception, Tiffany Maskell of District 7, who did not run for re-election. Kyle James Shepard, who ran unopposed in District 7, will take over in that position. The proposed changes to the Framingham Home Rule Charter were overwhelmingly approved by voters. Close to 75% of the ballots expressed support for the litany of changes, including limits on the amount of elected positions someone can hold and the inclusion of a Chief Climate and Sustainability Officer locally. Everyone who was on the ballot for the local Board of Library and Cemetery Trustees made it onto those respective groups as well. Elected officials will be inaugurated into office and begin their new terms at the start of the new year. Amid the federal government shutdown and the uncertainty regarding funding for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as SNAP or food stamps, local groups are working to keep up with demand for food security services. SNAP benefits were set to be frozen at the start of November, though judges in Massachusetts as well as Rhode Island have ruled that the program must be at least partially funded by the federal government this month. Still, it's unclear as to how much will be provided for the program and when that money will become available as of the time of this episode's taping. More than 8,200 people in Framingham, or around 11% of the city's population, are enrolled in SNAP, meaning that local organizations have faced an increase in need. Daniel's Table, which offers food pantry services, is one of those groups. Co-founder and program director Alicia Blaze said that the funding uncertainty and the upcoming holiday season have resulted in some panic from local families.
Do I buy oil or do I buy food? Do I skip a meal to make sure my kids are eating enough? Am I going to buy my medicine or my food? These are realities for people. So that's what we're just making sure the food part of it's taken care of. So maybe they can get the heat taken care of.
In turn, these organizations are taking action. Daniel's Table has launched a client choice grocery service specifically for those impacted by SNAP pauses, while A Place to Turn in Natick advised that they'll be increasing the number of people they serve by a minimum of 40 families a week. The United Way of Tri-County, which works with multiple local food pantries, have asked people to donate to their Feed a Family Response Fund. And the Framingham Interfaith Community Association recommended that residents raise money and collect food for those in need. Blaze praised the work being put in by business owners, donors, volunteers, and others within the community to step up during this time.
We are very blessed here in Framingham that we have a tremendous amount of partnerships. We have a tremendous amount of help. For a huge city, when things like this happen, we act like a small town. You know, neighbors helping neighbors.
City officials have provided a variety of local services and contacts for those who might be in need of food security services as the government shutdown and SNAP uncertainty continues. To learn more, log on to framinghamma.gov/civic alerts. Again, that's framinghamma.gov/civic alerts. During their meeting on Wednesday, November 5th, school committee members got an update on the plan to develop a new Southside elementary school that would replace Hemingway Elementary, as the construction management company onboarded onto the process has estimated a fall 2030 opening date. 2 years ago, the city reached a $9 million agreement to acquire the Sisters of St. Joseph property along Bethany Road for this new school, which proponents say is necessary due to Hemingway's current state and to increase education accessibility for Southside residents. The 13-member Framingham School Building Committee was formed to guide this plan, as the city was invited to join the Massachusetts School Building Authority in late 2023 in order to initiate a feasibility study. Project manager Chris Eberly from the construction management company Vertex told the school committee this week that the next step in this roughly 5-year process is selecting a designer within the next few months. With that in mind, his estimation is that the city council could vote on the project in August of 2027 before construction could begin in September of 2028, and the doors could open in August 2030. Leading up to that time, Eberly suggested that city officials hold a number of forums to solicit community feedback on the Southside School's development. Chair of the School Building Committee and at-large City Councilor George King said that local leaders have been informed about what the feasibility study consists of, an important step to take considering that factors such as student assignments and what is actually possible to build is key.
I think the extra time was worthwhile because it got people to understand the process and where we had to go. But now the real work starts, and so let's see how we do.
More details on the top stories that we cover every week on the program can be found on our website, www.theframe.news. There, we've got full written articles on key topics, feature pieces we've completed across the city, and a community calendar that's filled with events that are coming up locally. Be sure that you're subscribed to our email newsletter as well, so that you're always in the loop with Framingham News in Focus. A number of local high school sports teams have qualified for their respective state tournaments this fall. The Framingham High School boys soccer team entered the Division I state tournament as the number 6 seed, and they defeated number 27 Hopkinton on Tuesday 5-1. They're moving on to the round of 16, where they'll be playing Franklin on Saturday, November 8th at Fuller Middle School. Kickoff is at 2 p.m. that day. The Lady Flyer soccer team, meanwhile, qualified as the number 25 team in D1. They'll be playing number 8 Belmont on Thursday the 6th at 6 p.m., which is after we're done recording this episode, so we don't know the outcome there. The same goes for the Framingham High football team, who made the D1 bracket as the number 16 seed. They'll travel to number 1 St. John's Prep on Friday, November 7th. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m. Both of Keefe Tech's soccer teams qualified for the state tourneys as well. The boys of Keefe Tech qualified as the number 6 team in Division 5. In Wednesday's Round 1 match, they beat Rising Tide Charter 3-0. They'll be at home to play Hamden Charter, the number 22 seed, on Friday the 7th at 2 o'clock. Keefe Tech's girls soccer team, meanwhile, qualified as the number 44 seed in Division 4, though they bowed out on Monday the 3rd following a 7-0 loss to number 21 Millis. The local success did not just stop at those tournament qualifications, though. The Framingham Flyers Marching Band are officially state champions. They won first place at the state championship this past Saturday the 1st, while also being recognized with the awards for Best Music, Best Visual, Best Overall Effect, and Best Percussion. We here at The Frame want to congratulate all of the local athletes and marching band members on a great fall season. And finally this week, a preview of our Frame by Frame segment. Access Film Festival will be returning on November 7th and 8th at the Village Hall and Framingham State University. The work of local artists and independent filmmakers will be put on display during both days of the event, as attendees will also get the opportunity to learn and connect with each other. We spoke with the founder of the festival, Diana Porter, about what attendees can expect during year 2 of this event. Let's take a look.
It is so important to support individual voices and freedom of speech right now, more than ever. These are artists who, they don't have the backing of big studios, but that means they also don't have producers telling them what to say. They're not trying to sell you anything. They are just trying to share their perspective with you. And sometimes that is a perspective similar to your own, and you're finding peace with that. You're finding community with that. And sometimes it's refreshing. Sometimes it's something you never considered, and you get to learn something. And both are just beautiful.
As always, that full frame-by-frame segment can be found on our website, theframe.news, as well as our social media pages. @Frame News is our Instagram page, and you can search for The Frame on Facebook. Subscribe to Access Framingham's YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever new content goes live there. We're on Spotify too. Subscribe to watch or listen to the show there. And to learn more about Access Film Festival, log on to accessfram.tv/accessfilmfest. That will do it for this week's Framingham News in Focus. On behalf of our entire team, thanks for joining us. My name is Brendan Fitzpatrick. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.